What you just saw was the final seconds of a historic season put together by the men's Rhode Island College basketball team. I'm Dave Sorafine. This is RIC Now. On today's program, we will get a first-hand account of the men's basketball season and the NCAA Division III tournament from Coach Bob Walsh himself. We will also look back at the season that was. First, let's take a look at the final game between the RIC Anchormen and the Lord Jeffs of Amherst College. RIC would have to go into the Lions' den. Amherst was not only a tough opponent, but the host for the Sweet 16. Over 100 years in the making, the Rhode Island College Anchormen battled for a shot to play in the Final Four. However, they would have to go through Amherst, both the town and the host team of the tournament. Tony Pierleone, the big guy, gets RIC off on the right foot with an old-school hook shot. RIC would get off to a quick start in this game. Sophomore Tyrell Hill goes strong to the hoop and would not be denied. Standout Bobby Bailey shoots the baby jumper with enthusiasm. RIC fans are pleased with a 6-0 start for their Anchormen. However, Amherst would not be showing up in the house that they built. Brian Boskoskis, say that 10 times fast, let the threes fly from all over the court. Andrew Olson from way behind the arc. He led all scorers with 19 points. RIC students mostly go to school to become teachers, but they did not have the answer for Olson. Tyrell Hill tries to get his team back into it in the second half. RIC came within 3, but that's as close as they would get. RIC fans show their seniors some much-deserved appreciation for a season the whole school will remember for quite some time. A big congrats to Coach Walsh and the RIC team. They went further in the tourney than any other previous team in school history. Joining me now in the studio is the coach of the Anchormen, Bob Walsh. Bob, thank you for joining us and welcome to the program.
Nice to be here, Dave. Thank you.
Now, Coach, I know you spent some time in San Diego helping out at the university. Can you tell me and my viewers what the weather's like out there?
It's the best climate in the world. It's about 75 degrees and sunny 350 days out of the year. So it's a pretty good situation if you like to be outdoors.
Now, what would pull you away from the world's most perfect climate to come to a state where you can experience all 4 seasons in one day?
You know what? That's exactly it. I'm a basketball coach. In San Diego, they don't have seasons. It's just gorgeous every day. And I have 2 seasons. You know, there's basketball season. We play indoors. We practice indoors. I like the snow. I like the winter. Then in the spring, it's, you know, time to get outdoors. So,
now, in your second year here, you played for a chance to compete in the Final Four. When did you believe that this was a possibility, that you'd go that far with this team?
You know, really the day we beat Keene State for the conference championship on our home floor. We played a fantastic game. It really all came together. The kids were unbelievable. You know, and that day in the locker room after the game, we talked about winning the national championship. We all felt we were good enough. So the day we won the conference title on our home floor was the day we really felt like we had a chance to win it all.
Now, when you played Amherst in the Elite Eight, you guys started off really, really well, but then you lost the lead going into the half. Can you tell me what you told your guys in the locker room to get them motivated for the second half?
Actually, it was probably the first time in a while that they heard me really get after them at halftime. Usually we take a little bit of a break, and I talked to the assistants. I went right in and I shut the door, and I got their attention pretty quickly. Amherst played an unbelievable first half. They shot 60% from the field. They were 8 for 11 from 3. And I felt like, as well as they played, it kind of took our will away a little bit. We just had this sort of defeated look on our face. So I don't get on my guys about making physical mistakes, but if mentally we let down or we're not competing as hard as we can, that's where I get a little bit upset. So, you know, I just told them if we're going to go down, they're going to have to kill us. They're not just going to beat us. You know, we're going to go down swinging. And I was really proud of the way we came out and just left it all on the floor in the second half.
You guys came out very strong. You pulled within 3, but overall they maintained the lead. What was the toughest part of Amherst's game that you guys couldn't counter?
You know, I think in the second half, we couldn't get the ball back. We did a really good job defensively, but we had trouble finishing plays. We went smaller on offense to make us harder to guard for them, and that hurt us on the defensive end. They're a really big, strong, physical team. So I felt like the biggest difference was when we got them to miss shots, they had 17 or 18 offensive rebounds. We just couldn't get the ball back enough to get over the hump.
Now, after the game was over, what did you tell your guys, especially your seniors? It was the final game that they'll play in a RIC uniform.
You know what? I thank the seniors just for for letting me join them on, you know, an incredible journey, and for believing in me. I mean, this is my first head coaching job, and, you know, they bought into everything that we were trying to do. So, and I told them they have absolutely nothing to be upset about. The only thing that we were down about was that we didn't have practice that Monday, you know, and that the team as a group together doesn't get to continue to play. But other than that, we had absolutely nothing to be upset about.
How do you think this season's success will impact future seasons?
Well, you know, this team has set the standard for RIC basketball. You know, Mr. Tencher has done a great job with the athletic department building a winning tradition and getting to that level where we can talk about championships. And we want to be at a championship level, and you can't really talk about that until you do it. We won a championship this year. We had a chance to go to the Final Four. So, you know, now the standard is set, and we want to talk about winning a national championship, and it's a realistic goal for us.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but can you give me a prediction on how far RIC will go in the tournament next year?
You know what? I can't. I'd love to. I think we'll be very good. We've got a lot of good players coming back. The success this year will certainly breed more success in the future. But, you know, we were successful this year because we talked about getting better today and winning our next game. So when we get together next year in September, we're going to talk about winning our first game, and that'll be it. We'll try and win that first one.
Well, I want to congratulate you and your whole team for your success one more time. Thank you for joining me on the show.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Coming up next, two of the key players for the Anchorman join me in the studio. Sit tight. RIC Now will be right back. Joining me now, we have Kinsey Durgan and Bobby Bailey, two key players for the Rhode Island College Anchorman. Guys, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. This was your final season as a RIC Anchorman, Kinsey, and you guys went farther in the tournament than any other team in school history. When did you guys believe you'd make it that far?
The whole season, we kind of had this confidence that we could win every game we played, and we had a couple close, you know, we had a couple tough ones with Keene State during the regular season, but after, like Coach said, after the LEC tournament, we really believed that we could possibly go the whole way and win the national championship.
Now, you're a captain. You've been on the team for 4 years. What leadership qualities do you bring to this team?
Well, I was a captain the last 2 years. I think it was more leadership on the floor, like lead by example kind of guy. I'm not a get in your face and yell to motivate. I kind of motivate through what I do on the court, and I try to be a leader on and off the court. You know, help the guys both ways. So.
Now, Bobby, you're one of the younger players in the team, but you're one of the up-and-coming, call it stars in the team. Who did you look to for leadership on this team?
Basically, team captains. Like you said, on and off the court. Anything I needed, I could just call on one of the captains and for advice, and they give it to me.
Did you guys feel you had a good chemistry as a whole team, as a unit?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Now, I talked to many fans on the bus headed up to Keene State. Now, they compared the rivalry to that of the Red Sox and Yankees. What was the general feeling in the locker room before that game in the Sweet 16?
It was kind of nice to play them again. You know, going into the NCAA tournament, we kind of wanted to play some different teams we had never played before. Mm-hmm. Then we get Keene State again, and it was kind of like, you know, here we go all over again. But it was kind of a nice feeling because we know exactly what they have to offer. You know, we know exactly how they play and who we're going against. And Coach and I actually talked about it yesterday, and it was kind of like playing against your friends. Like we had conversations on the court with them.
Almost like a pickup game?
Yeah, it was like we knew each other so well that we could just, you know, we would talk out on the floor like we were friends.
Now, you guys lost to Amherst in the Elite Eight, but they went on to win it all. Were they the toughest opponent that you faced, and why?
I'll say yeah, they were. One reason I would say why is they over rebounded us. They're a bigger team than we were. Tougher, I wouldn't say. No, I wouldn't think no team was tougher than we were. They just brought it that day, and they ended up taking it.
Now, Kinsey, you picked up a couple of honors and awards for your work in the postseason. What did you pick up, and how much does it mean to you as a player?
It's nice to get those awards. I got second team all region, I believe it was, and I don't know. It's nice to get them, I guess. I think it'll mean more down the road than it does right now. I think it means more to my family and friends are probably more happy about it than I am right now. But obviously it will mean a lot at some point down the road.
Now, you're a marketing major. Bobby, you're a business major. Those are two very difficult majors. Now, did playing in the tournament affect your time in the classroom at all?
I don't think so. No. We kind of schedule our time well. The athletic department does a good job with these guys with study hall, especially the younger guys, keeping them on track to do their work and everything. And Coach Walsh is always on us about academics. Student athlete, the student comes first, and he's a big supporter of that. Make sure we're always on time for class, always doing our work, and he follows up with the professors to make sure we get everything done.
Now, is basketball in either of your futures when you graduate?
I think so, yes.
You want it to be?
Coach Walsh and I just sat down yesterday, talked about the possibilities of going and playing overseas professionally.
In Europe?
Yeah. So that's probably going to happen in the fall for me. Yeah.
And Bobby, you still have 2 years left on the team?
Yeah, that's not really something I'm thinking of right now. I'm just trying to get through school, and when the time comes, then we'll talk about that.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me today. Good luck in whatever you do in the future. You've seen and heard the voices of the coaches and the players. Next, we have a special guest who overlooks all the athletics on the campus. When we come back, our own Erica Atwell sits down for a little one-on-one with Athletics Director Don Tencher. Don't go anywhere.
Ravello there ahead of McKechnie, so is Mullen. He lines them up. There goes the kick.
Red Line to the rescue. 132311.
Welcome back to RIC Now. I'm Eric Atwell, and joining us now is Donald Tencher, Director of Athletics here at Rhode Island College. Mr. Tencher, welcome.
Thanks, Erica.
After the 2007 season, which was very successful, can you please tell me, across the board, were you very impressed?
Yeah, I think the men's basketball, it was just a dream season. And I think the men's basketball program put the stamp on what we've been trying to accomplish here for the last 12 years. Because as great a season as they have, it's been across all 19 sports. Let us not forget our women's softball team last year, who could have easily been the national champions if not for the weather. So the guys definitely put the stamp on the program, but there's been 341 student athletes that have been working extremely hard.
Now, when putting the stamp on, what factors lead to the success?
Well, I think as Kinsey alluded to just a few minutes ago, we from the very beginning, we knew we had to build a program, in a sense, from the foundation up. And that means bringing student athletes in who are very, very successful academically as well as athletically. It meant giving them the support services, because people don't understand sometimes. They think, student athletes, especially if you look at them at Division I, are these spoiled kids who get to travel. That's not at this level. Our kids are working every single day. They got to go to practice 3 and 4 hours a day. They got to go look at film. So it's extremely important to us when we demand that much from a student athlete and a student in general, that we give them the support services necessary. And that means quality coaching, quality academic support, because again, they're missing maybe, they don't have as much free time as other students to study and get their projects done. So it's important that we provide the structure and assist them with the structure and the things that will carry on later in life.
Exactly. And as Mr. Walsh had just mentioned, he commented on the fact that you have done a very well job at building that structure for this department.
We've been very, very fortunate, and we've got great alums that unfortunately the college didn't really reach out to before we got here, and now they come. We've got corporate America, corporate Rhode Island on our side. All the facilities have been rebuilt here with no school dollars, no tax dollars, all from donations. And we went from having the 8th ranked facilities in our conference when we got here to now the #1 ranked facilities in our conference. And we're proud of the fact The money didn't come, from books or whatever. It came from donations from the community, and it's something we're really, proud of. And, the last thing we've done is we've done it across all 19 sports. We didn't pick on basketball and pumped all our money into basketball because, again, all 340 student athletes. And like you mentioned before we went on the air, I think the culmination was in the basketball season when 2,200 people packed the Murray Center. And you said it was your first game, but I saw faculty members there I've never seen in 10 years, and I saw alumni cheering. So that was the stamp, and it shows that, hopefully we haven't peaked. We've just kind of plateaued, and there's many more peaks and not too many valleys.
Yes, the support was overwhelming, would you say?
It was, and again, I'm so proud of the student body. We went up, and again, it was school break week, and we sold 400 tickets on Saturday morning in 3 hours for kids going up to Amherst. And Amherst isn't the best of rides, and there's not a heck of a lot to do. I think if we were playing in Tampa, we probably would have got even more. But student body showed up, alumni showed up, faculty and staff showed up, and it was just, despite the loss, and no one's mentioned yet, Amherst was the ultimate champion. So it's not a big consolation, but they went in and just swamped through the final 2 games to win the national championship. So it was just a stamp to an outstanding season.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. So can you tell me what is in store for next year after losing the team members from this year?
Well, and the coach will tell you this, in recruiting, and I always say I wasn't a great coach, I was a fair coach, but if you give me the horses, I probably could have been a great coach. So we're never satisfied. We got to go out and get, athletic kids who can play at Rhode Island College. Make no bones about it. If you go to school here, academically, it's tough. It's not a school where you can come in and just, people think, oh, we're just going to let them in. So we have to make sure we get student athletes that can play in this conference, which is probably one of the toughest conferences in America, but they also can do what it takes to succeed here at Rhode Island College academically, and we want to ensure they're good citizens. Unlike some programs you read in the paper, that they tolerate, poor citizenship. Our kids better always be very good citizens. We demand that. We want, again, they represent you, they represent me, they represent alumni, and we want to make sure that they do it in the best of manners.
Well, Mr. Tencher, I'd like to thank you and all of our guests for joining the program today. And remember, when you need to know what's happening in RIC sports, you can turn to RIC Now. We leave you today with a look back at the amazing journey for the Rhode Island College 2007 basketball playoff run. For Dave Sarfine, I'm Erica Atwell. We'll see you next time.